What's up, everybody? It's your boy JD back again with another video. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to hop back in the Tower of God lore. So we learned a lot last time. We learned a lot about the workshop. Guys who created the workshop, of course, some of the jihad princesses, which is really gonna basically be covered in another video. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get back into it. Before we do, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Want to take support any further? Patreon link is in the description below. Also, join our Tackle Game membership and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video or go live on the channel. So let's go and get into it. So, the three lords are a trio of regents that take turns ruling every 1,000 years over the jihad empire. The three lords system is actually an old tradition that has existed since jihad first established the empire in the tower and stems from the crest of the crimson three eyes of jihad family. So if you always want to know why jihad wears this mask or the symbol of jihad is three eyes, the three lords, there you go. The three lords have the highest authority in all of politics of the tower and have the final say on all members submitted by the rulers' conference. To avoid being bound by their heritage, they discarded their surnames and only used their first names. All right, so let's learn about these three lords. Flux. The Lord is also known as the Magician. He is the first disciple of Macbeth, one workshop, and is one of the fathers of Gonbane, and the only father we know of this thus far. Like all the other fathers of Gonbane, Flux is an artificial organism created by Macbeth. However, no one has seen his real self, and only the illusions he makes appears here in the tower. He is one of the three people that own the ultimate lighthouse model, Opera. Well, we know that's what Kun is eventually going to get. I can see Kun definitely being the next one to have the Opera, which is the ultimate lighthouse, hinting that he is the most likely a light bearer, although this is not confirmed. It seems that most or possibly even all of the fathers are also great teachers. However, Flux is not a great teacher because he holds one of the Lord's seats and is known that he is out of the workshop, not an immediate working position within the organization. One can view him as equal or slightly above the four children who might also be fathers, though this is unconfirmed, hence why we only refer to them as their great teacher ranks for the time being. Next is Jo-chun or let's see, Ju-chan. Okay, Ju-chan. Of the three, Ju-chan is known to be a progressive lord who strongly asserts and stands up for the idea of advancing on to the next floor because he loves alcohol, so he's a drunk. So one of the three lords, Ju-chan, is a drunk. And he just wants to go up the floor to get drunk. Okay, sounds like he loves to party. All right. All right. He was named Ju-chan for Alcohol River. He was born in Arihan and so he's part of the Ari family? And an unknown woman who was native to the tower. His mother is said to have died as she gave birth to him. There is a rumor that he is a drinking buddy to Urek Mazzino, but this is unconfirmed. His real name is by default Ari Chun. And a drinking buddy for Urek. That's fucking interesting. So we might see Ju-chan sooner than we think. The reason why I said that, we know after this particular first part of the war with Yasracha, Bam's goal is to head to Walk Hai Song's floor to see Urek and to also see Yuri. So we know that is one of Bam's goals, is to go up to those floors. Now, given that Ju-chan is a drinking buddy of Urek, we possibly might see him sooner than we think. Not saying it's a definite, but it's definitely a higher possibility we see him, at least as of right now, compared to the other two. And we haven't even got to the last guy. So Ari Chun, his real name, we might see him pretty soon. Well, at least sooner than the other two. Okay, last one. Molec 1PGR. If jihad is the symbol that represents the tower's ruler and personification of the empire itself, Molec 1 is the being who actually rules the tower. Of the 3 lords, he is the strongest and his influence is comparable to the 10 great family heads. His name, Molec I, comes from the Molec region that he lived in, and it means the absolute lord of Molec. As his name implies, he, quite obviously, was once the absolute ruler of the Molec region of the tower, and under a settlement with Jahai became one of the 3 lords. After he became lord, Molec faithfully performed the duties of a lord, and unlike his old days, he carried on the image of a benign and generous ruler. During the ruler's conferences, he occasionally shows a charisma that overwhelms all the rulers. Rulers here referencing the owners of the various floors who have consent of guardians like Evan Kell, Kun Royale, Elliot. Okay. Although said to be a powerful warrior that even Jihad himself could not take lightly. As is ancient history, most of the records with regard to these propositions and statements have been lost to the tides of time. Wielding his giant halberd, it is said that he is able to fulfill the role of all positions. However, to say it was not that he performed the role of every position, but rather he fought without any regard to what a position was, seems to be a more accurate statement. Okay, so that's big. This is big, bro. Okay, so this is very big. So this Molec 1. That's a bad man right there, boy. That's a bad man. So he holds probably even more pull in the tower than the workshop and Jihad. Because we know the workshop holds a shit ton of power within the tower, because anything anyone needs created, information, they're outside the tower, they're inside the tower, they hold the most power overall in the tower, even more than Jihad and more than Molec 1. But when it comes to Molec, that he got pulled, and he gives Jihad a run for his money. So which means is Molec, so my question would be with Molec, is Molec a regular? Like a regular native of the tower? Or is he an irregular? I don't think it said anything about him being like an irregular, or if he's just they said he was the regent of the tower, once absolute ruler of the Molec region, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's from the region. It could mean he's from that region and he just ruled it, but it doesn't necessarily say that he's from that region. He just said he was the ruler of that region. So could he also be a irregular? Or is he the only one that's native from the tower that can even stand up to an irregular like Jihad? Because we all know irregulars are pretty much, they're not pretty much, look, let's just call it what it is. They're gods, okay? They're gods. Irregulars are literal gods inside the tower. So if this guy is not an irregular and he's just a native being of the tower, and for him to stand toe-to-toe to the strongest man in the tower, other than Enryu, which we don't even know if Enryu is ever going to come back in the story or not, but other than Enryu, and I know some of y'all going to say Phantanamon, but he really doesn't count. He's an Axis. Yes, he was in the story, the first chapter with Yuri, but he doesn't necessarily count. He's an Axis, so it's kind of like it doesn't really mean anything about him. So Enryu is technically number 1, but y'all get the general picture of what I'm trying to say. Okay. Molec and Ju-chan are the most interesting. Flux is, Flux is kind of like probably the least. He's probably the weakest out of the 2. Because we know the Ari clan is amazing. Flux, pretty much workshop type shit. Molec, this man is like just godly. Okay. World Hike Song, co-founded by the famed high-rankers Yuri Mizuno and Beck Ryan, one of the most outstanding wave controllers in history. The influence and power of this organization is so big that the 10 great families fear it. Note, this is how this contradicts Gustain's statement toward Yurek in Floor of Death. Additionally, Kun Hind Luck stated that Wokai Song is strong enough to threaten Jihad's army. Their progressive image of finding a way out the tower disagrees with Jihad's empire conservative ideas, but that's not enough to call them anti-government, which a lot of people bring them as. Although the relationship between Fug and Wokai Song is not that good, there are a few members who are associated with both groups. The name Wokai Song, the winged tree. Under the Moon originates from a supposedly true story between Urek and Bakroon. Wokai Song began when Bakroon heard the great stories of the world outside the tower from Urek, and subsequently developed his own ambitions and dreams of leaving the tower. I'm telling you, boy, once they learn the tower, that there's more out there, everybody like, shit, fuck Jihad and all that shit Jihad talking about. I'm getting out this tower, bro. He like, I'm getting out this tower, bro. Bakroon originally wandered from a place to place and eventually settled down in a forest. But after he became curious about the world outside and finally told Urek about his desire to get out, Urek said, then I'll attach wings to this forest. I'll attach wings to those big trees so that they can follow you wherever you go. He then shrank, unknown as to how, the entire forest and put it into a small winged box. The name Wokai Sons comes from the That's dope. Afterwards, the forest was moved to the 77th floor. Okay, and expanded back to normal size. The fact that this man, Bakroon, moved an entire forest from one floor to the next is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. That's amazing. Rankers who had heard stories of Urek and Bakroon gathered one by one, forming Wokai Song. Quant Blintz once said that their headquarters are located in Hellas Place, deep near Red Force Returns. As it turns out, Quant might not be the most reliable source of info, obviously. Bonus info on Urek. An amazing high ranker who set the record for climbing the tower in the shortest time using normal methods. A total 50 years. Like most of the other high rankers, he is very capable of filling all the positions. He was referred to Kunidan Edwan as an opponent. I really want to fight, and fought Ari Han on an equal level when he was only a regular, to the point that Han praised him as a true warrior after their fight, ended on a stalemate during the 100th floor test, and even admitted Urek was far better. The task of Han's test was for Urek to endure his attacks for 10 minutes, and his prize of choice was ownership over the 77th floor. Urek's humorous backstory with Phantanimum. At some point in history, while both were still in the outside world, Urek had been tracking fellow irregular Phantanimum for unknown reasons. And when Phanta entered the tower, Urek followed him inside immediately after. So we are left to assume that they have a long history, or alternative for brief skirmish. There was a time when Urek, who had complained about his rank being lower than Phantanimum's, broke into the ranking administration office, captured Robert Asan, the deputy director over the place, and threatened him to raise his rank. To Urek, who asked, "Have you ever seen me fight Phantanimum?" Asan answered briefly and without hesitation, "You would be the loser if there was such a fight." Urek, Mazzino's shock, could do nothing but go home bitterly. As a result of the incident, a number of jokes about Mazzino emerged, and nicknames like Urek Maluser and Loser Mazzino appeared. This climaxed into proportion of the comic strips featuring the incident with Bakroon said would prove quite useful in the treatment of chronic depression. It appears that Urek has managed to get over this incident. Okay, so now the ranking administration office. Tommy is the director of so this is the logo. Alright. Tommy is the director of the ranking administration office, one of the most influential groups in the tower. He was chosen by Jihad to create the administrative office of ranks. He hired Robert Asan as his assistant director and is his first employee of the administration office. Tommy calls him by the nickname Asan. Tommy is a person who is always out playing instead of being in the office, whose action seems to say screw charisma, making decisions and handling issues. Because of the great and committed wickedness that Tommy possesses, he included Robert Asan in the rankings despite Asan not being a ranker. One day, Tommy tested Asan, asking what ranking would he give himself, and Asan responded with, "Don't know," which Tommy literally added to the rankings. What kind of that's bullshit. Tommy is not included in the rankings as he has not climbed the tower. Meanwhile, Robert Asan is a man hidden behind the veils, so unknown that even Jihad does not know any of the details of his birth. Thanks to his outstanding and precise ability to handle matters and his silent personality, he was also known by the nickname Robert Asan. At some point, there was a widespread rumor that he was an office-use cyborg created by the workshop. but this was later officially denied by the workshop. As the first person put into any position by Tommy after Jihad chose Tommy to set up the rank administration office, Hassan is a man with awe-inspiring, precise decision-making skills and charisma, the polar opposite of Tommy. It seems that he only has the battle power of an average person. However, despite this, he never cowers even before high rankers. It is said that there are many cases in which he overwhelms them instead. The majority in the tower argues that, ignoring battle ability as purely based on influence, he can compete with Fug or the heads of the Great 10 families. Bonus info. Okay, so before we get, I guess we can go ahead and do that. Right. These two Walk Height song members are fairly irrelevant, but it's worth noting that Kurdan holds the special position of Dansula, aka Technician, and the Ice Strawberry, real name unknown, is a member of the branch clan of the Eurasia family, supposedly not the Fonsekai branch, but an entirely different one. Okay, so back to the Wokai song and Urek Mizuno. So Urek and Phantanimum had a backstory. They had a thing together. Whether this was a thing to where it was like, yo, I'm better than you. Were they friends? Were they enemies? Were they just like acquaintances, rivals? We don't really know. But all we do know is that Phantanimum is the Axis. He's obviously stronger than Urek. At least from everything we know about Phantanimum, he's the top dog. He's the Axis. But Urek is technically, if you don't count Enryu, Urek is number 2 behind Jihad. Now, is Urek stronger than Jihad? We don't necessarily know. It's possible they could be on equal footing. We know Urek has the power of one of the 10 families by himself, the entirety of a family by himself. We know he's that strong. So he's capable of taking on an entire family plus the family head by himself. We know that. So that's also great to know. But it's also great to know that Urek is, we know he's a very funny guy. But we're going to leave it for right there, man. We're going to touch back on Bug on the next one. So that's it for today's video, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. You did. Make sure to drop a like, sub to the channel. Let me know what you guys think about everything that we learned today as far as Walk High Song, the 3 Great Lords, and a little bit of info about Kurdan and Miss Ice Strawberry. You guys want to keep up with me? Twitch, Twitter, Discord links, all of that's in the description below, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.